Our table. You ever see the old YouTube video? Kid with airsoft gun breaks friend's camera.
This is what dying feels like. Whoa, you really? There's like white. There's like only white in the lens once. Whoa. There's what? Oh, whoa. You broke it. Whoa. What in the world?
No.
I think you would love it. It's a very I had never seen it before.
Okay.
Chat couldn't believe that I'd never seen it. So I watched it on stream and I was like, yeah, you guys were right. This is a classic.
Is it like 640 by 480, that old?
No, I think it's from it's post iPhone era.
Okay.
But it has the energy of an old YouTube video for sure.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't disappoint with the microwave shirt. That was...
I mean, that's an all-time...
All right, next
the only thing I'll say about kid breaks other kid's camera with an airsoft gun is that that's kind of sick.
Whoa, hold on. Go a side view.
That's your thumbnail?
Yes.
How you like that? This looks like something out of Hannibal now.
Oh, that looks like unicorn hoofs.
The video in total is 26 seconds long. So
Okay.
it's not like it's a major time investment. Like it's a quick burn.
Gotcha.
But despite being 26 seconds long, it has like 3 acts. It has a traditional 3-act structure.
Okay. Kind of like the Golden Mickeys.
Kind of like the Golden Mickeys. You know, the first act is Ensign Benson being reluctant. And then the second act is, when it culminates with Dig a Little Deeper. And then the third act, of course, when Tim Allen shows up and goes, we're trying to take your entertainment to infinity and beyond.
You're doing pretty good, Tim Allen.
Unless, of course, the tool belt's cinched too tight.
What do you... All right, hold on. What do you think Al Borland... Is Al Borland still alive?
Yeah, Richard Karn.
Yeah, what do you think he's doing nowadays?
He was doing the Family Feud for a while.
Then
he lost
he's
that legit. Yeah, I think he lost. Well, he lost it to John O'Hurley,
who's that?
Elaine's boss from Seinfeld, Mr. Peterman.
Okay, that's a good description of him.
And then he lost it to Steve Harvey. But I think Richard Karn, as much as I like the character of Al Borland, is an all-time bottom tier Family Feud host. He's trying to do the small talk and like with a light bit of flirting, but he doesn't have that aura. He doesn't have that sincerity to it. So I think it just makes the interactions awkward and the contestants don't really know how to like interact.
Okay. Does he have a beard? Is he still bearding? When
Yeah.
He was doing that?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, actually, I think he might be clean shaven, but he's got the same hairstyle for sure.
I can't picture Al Borland without beard. Are you sure? How sure are you?
58, 42.
Okay. Because I could see with the beard and the flannel shirt, I could see the flirting not going over well. But I also can't see.
It's just like it's not even that he's like not handsome. It's just like he doesn't have it. It's like he read a guide for like how to flirt, but he doesn't embody the spirit. It's like he's mimicking flirting. He's mimicking rapport, not actually like embodying it.
Got it. I see. So, well, I think the problem is I can't picture him in a suit. What is he wearing?
A jacket, button-up shirt, slacks, no tie.
Eddie Bauer type flannel shirt. Yeah, you can't. That's
I can see that.
That's like your uncle or something. You know?
Yeah.
Not like smooth. But who was the first Family Feud host?
Richard Dawson.
He had it.
He shouldn't have said all of that, but yeah, he had it.
I feel like
he could have said some of the stuff that he said was basically downright sexual harassment. Killed every time, every single. That's the difference between sincerity and mimicry.
Well,
I think what they should, and this is not to damn Richard Karn. I think they should have just he should have done his own thing instead of trying to be like, hey, this is how Richard Dawson did it. He should have been like, he should have brought his own spin on it. Because Louis Anderson, when he did it, he wasn't going around like grabbing the ladies too close on the shoulder or the fellas. He was just doing his own top 3 answers on the board, you know?
I think
Name something you wouldn't want to see in your chili. A finger. Like he had his own spin on it.
But I think that's good. That's good advice for anything in life.
Agreed.
Don't.
And when you're like, 16, you got to like figure it out. Al Borland, though, he was probably like 47 when they gave him the show.
You think he was thinking that people would just take the home improvement bit and be okay with it?
Yeah, I think so.
But see, here's the thing.
So.
If he was Al Borland hosting, I bet he's still the host.
You might be right. Imagine if he had like a contestant named Tim and he hit him with the like, I don't think so, Tim. That would have brought that would have gone like 1998 viral for sure.
I have one clip. I'm going to see if you can guess it. I have one clip of Family Feud in my mind, and you have to put it in a context. It came from like either a TikTok or YouTube short. Do you know what clip I'm thinking of?
Naked Grandma?
No, it's two.
It's not Naked Grandma?
No, it's Steve Harvey, a dude, and a girl at like the red buzzers. And Steve Harvey's like, "What are you going to do to distract them?" And she goes, "Woo!" And the guy starts barking, ruff, ruff, ruff. And then Steve Harvey goes, "You're married. Your wife's right behind you." You never saw that clip?
I've never seen that one.
I think you have. It's probably not appropriate to, but anyways, I'll send it to you. Why in chat if you know the clip I'm talking about, and in chat if no. Librarian, pull that up. All right.
You ever see the Canadian Family Feud one where they're in sudden death at the buzzer? And Jerry D, he's kind of like our Steve Harvey.
Okay.
He goes, name a food associated with Popeye. And then the lady buzzes in like a millisecond. And she's so confident. She's got a big smile on her face. And she goes, chicken. And she's like shimmying her shoulders when she says it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
And she's right?
No, I mean, nah, man. It wasn't number one, so it doesn't matter.
It has to be number one? Well, it has to be
sudden
number
death,
one.
There's only one answer on the board. Top one answer on the board.
Oh, okay. It was olive oil.
No, man, it's spinach.
Oh. All right, let's
spinach.
Oh, okay. I get it. I thought it was the top answer on the board. It was like the thing Popeye loves most.
It might still be spinach, man.
You think Popeye prefers spinach to olive oil? Have you seen Shelley McNeil in the movie? She's killing it.
She got a bad rap. Shelley Long.
Shelley Long, yeah. That's a great. Have you ever seen that movie?
I mean, Shelley Duvall. That's right.
Yeah.
Shelley Long is from Cheers, I think.
Shelley Long is from Camp Beverly Hills, right?
That one, I don't know. I don't know that one. I think the Family Feud's pretty good. As far as like stuff to watch when you're home, sorry, stuff to watch when you're like homesick from school or whatever. I think it's okay.
It has to be the easiest game show to win, don't you think?
Oh, dude. I mean, Wheel of Fortune is pretty easy.
But what if
I think that you can sum up the state of like modern society with the fact that if you come third on Jeopardy, you win $0 or like $100. And they don't even pay for your flight and your hotel, I think. So you're probably down like maybe $1,000 just getting there. And then like on Wheel of Fortune, if you come in third, you win all the money that you've accrued. So you could win like $20,000 by coming in last place.
I didn't know that. Wait, why is Jeopardy so low budget? They don't fly the contestants out?
Because it's a real meritocracy, man.
What about the appearance fee? There's got to be some SAG.
You make it up on the show, bro, or don't show up. You don't got confidence in yourself. Don't do the audition. Don't do the quiz.
Yeah, but you're giving your name, image, and likeness to Alex Trebek.
Well, you know how it goes. What are you going to do? Play hardball with Sony Pictures Television? You're going to be like, I want my cut. They'll be like, we got 10,000 nerds waiting in the wings, man.
Well, brother, when CBS called Post Traders, that's exactly what I did. I said, well, get one of those nerds then. Go get one of those nerds. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you got an 8 billion IQ and you go play Jeopardy, they should pay for that. At least a little, like maybe not just get you there and put you up in like the Best Western or something.
It is kind of crazy they don't pay for your travel. That's kind of insane.
I know you've applied. Have you ever heard back or a casting call or anything?
Nothing, man. I think it's because I didn't know that Kendrick Lamar's real name was Duckworth. And they said, well, this guy is like, he's not like us. When the show not like us, man.
Chad, you can give him a +2 for that one. But like you've never got a call back?
Never a call or an email.
I'm not saying this to be funny. Can you be on it and be Canadian?
Oh, they have Canadians like all the time.
Here's that's the state of the world right now is like you got a guy who, if you're on the episode, it's going to be the highest rated episode they've ever had. Just
That's
based on
definitely not true.
What?
But I take your point.
Why in chat, if you're in NO's chat, if you would watch the Jeopardy episode that Ryan's on, and in chat if no.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they had like more viewers for like the Ken Jennings
no.
run.
Okay, hold on. I don't have your chat pulled up. Chat, how many people are watching Ryan right now? It's called 12,000. More people are watching you right now than the last episode of Jeopardy. I can promise you.
Man. Not true. I bet the last episode of Jeopardy had 5 million viewers.
No, you zero chance. Librarian, zero chance. Pull that up.
You don't think 1 in 60 Americans is watching Jeopardy?
I think there's.
You know how many old people are out there, man?
I think there's a couple 100,000 people that watch.
No way.
And I'm saying no more than 300,000. 300,000 is like their Super Bowl.
I think you're underestimating the appeal of Jeopardy, man.
Okay, I couldn't even tell you what day and time Jeopardy debuts on. When is it?
It's 7 p.m. weeknights.
They put
on
out
CBS, bro.
Well, 5 nights a week, and they're all fresh.
5 nights a week.
Fresh episodes.
Well, they take breaks now and then, but yeah, bro, you've probably never seen them before.
Bro, no one's watching. I'm telling you, no one's watching that.
You're insane, man. Like, it's just that your country has 350 million people and the channel is over the air. Now, if we're talking Gen Z in particular, I don't think Jeopardy's like the #1 show. I bet more Gen Zers are watching Jeopardy than Wheel of Fortune.
But here's the thing. Let's just say you're true. So you think it's 5 million people watch? If in some bizarre world that 5 million people watch Jeopardy every single night, there is no reason to not pay for someone's flight and hotel. But
I couldn't agree. Well, there's one reason.
What?
Free market. They got a never-ending line of contestants coming out paying their own way.
But if you're getting like 5 million an episode, Big Brother. I mean, I know it's apples to not app to cord apples. You're telling me more people watch Jeopardy than Survivor?
I would think that the answer is no. But I think there's different things to consider. Survivor's on once a week. The seasons are more like eventful, whereas Jeopardy's on every day and it's kind of evergreen.
I mean, if you, I'm going to look up the numbers after this. My mind will be blown if more than a couple 100,000 people watch Jeopardy nightly.
I'll tell you, it's definitely more than a couple 100,000 people. That's like 1 in 100 Americans or something. There's no shot, man.
I mean, I could call 100 Americans on my phone right now, and none of them are going to watch Jeopardy.
Well, you could probably call 100 Americans who watch Jeopardy too.
Like, let me ask this. If you called 100 random phone numbers in your phone, how many people watch Jeopardy tonight?
They're not random if they're in my phone, dude. This is the problem this is Nate Silver's problem, man. If they're in my phone, it's not random. It's a biased sample.
Wait, Nate Silver from Ted Lasso? I don't think you watched Ted Lasso.
If you called 100 landlines in the US, I bet you would get at least 7 Jeopardy viewers, if I had to guess.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. And I know you're not going to endorse this, but
00000000000. Okay. Excuse me. Did you watch Jeopardy last night?
I just typed in a random phone number.
Okay. You're calling right now?
Yes. You want me to mute it?
Speaker.
Okay.
Wait, I should take my phone out of my pocket just to see if you're calling me.
Wireless. Your call cannot be completed.
Okay, hold on.
The number you have reached has been disconnected.
What?
What are the odds, man? What are the odds?
The number you
no one has phone numbers anymore?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
That's it. I'm calling someone I know that I haven't talked to in a long time.
That's probably safer.
All right, here's who I'm gonna call. I went on a
call Jamie Lynn Siegler.
Do you want me to? All right, I will. I will call her.
No, I don't think you should. I think in that case, I would recommend texting.
No, I'm gonna call her. You told me to call.
That's crazy.
All right,
I'm gonna get in trouble.
All right, I won't. So I went on when I was 20. I went on a scholarship vacation to Italy, and I haven't talked to any of those people in 20 years. So I'm gonna call one of them with no context.
It's crazy. You have them in your phone, and you remember their names.
Well, I don't. Her name's in the phone.
Oh, hello.
Hey, is Megan there?
Yeah, this is.
Megan, what's going on? This is Dan Gheesling. How are you?
Dan, it's so funny. I had you in my phone. And I was like, I wonder if this is a butt dial because I haven't talked to you in so long.
I know it's been a long time, but I do have to preface this. But this call is being broadcast in front of like 1,000 people, so I don't want to make you feel awkward, but I just have a random question for you. Real quick, are you doing well? Is life good?
I am doing well, yes.
Okay.
Life is good.
This is really important, and I just want you to be honest. When is the last time you have watched an episode of Jeopardy?
Oh my gosh.
No. Last night.
Probably 20 years.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Megan. I am gonna when I'm not in front of people, I'll call you. But it's nice to hear your voice, and I'll call you later on. I just can't talk right now.
No problem. Sounds good.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so there's your couple 100,000 people that watch Jeopardy.
What's it like to be you, man?
What do you mean?
Really, if I called someone I hadn't talked to in 20 years that would just happen to be in my phone, they would be like, "Why the hell are you calling me?" No, I can't talk right now. Like, what are you talking? You're just calling me randomly on like a Thursday.
Look,
they pick up with a smile on their face, saying stuff like, "I was just thinking about you." 20 years later,
bro. Some of us are Richard Card, and some of us are Richard.
It doesn't
Dawson.
work like that in the real world, man. You got something's going on here.
No, man. I mean, you just I don't know. I'm not saying you're Richard Karn, but
that's aura. You're absolutely right, Chad. That's aura.
I don't know. I mean,
there wasn't even like an on the pickup either.
What do you want me to say, man? I don't know.
I just want you to recognize that that's not how it works for most people. Okay.
I've never really thought about that, but I will now, because the only way I contextualize that is the same way you can just say that Richard Karn was in these 3 movies during this time and this music was playing in this scene. So I will accept my fact of aura. Because I can.
You want to swap? You want to swap for a minute? You want to try it on?
All right, let's get this jump in.
Just remind you of anything? Oh, checkpoint. Oh, okay. Okay.
Chat. He just willheimed. I think if you were to take the audio map, the audio waves of the actual Wilhelm screen.
Hey, buddy. What? It's Wilhelm.
Oh.
It's Wilhelm.
I think you hit probably.
You leave the trivia to me, okay? If we need to talk to a host at a restaurant or something like that, or like the gate agent at the airport, I'll take a step back. But as we're talking about trivia, I got to step in.
Fair enough. I'll oblige. But I'm just saying, of the 30 frames of audio, you probably matched at least 20 of the frames identical.
You ever seen the video? I'm gonna jump, by the way. You ever see the video where they're giving the guy direction to create what would go on to become the Wilhelm scream?
Wait, say that again. Did I ever?
It's like the raw behind the scenes footage of them creating the Wilhelm scream.
That's from the 50s, right?
Maybe like the 70s, 60s or 70s.
Okay. No, I've never seen it. What happens to get it?
So the director goes like, well, this is like trying to get audio of a man getting bit by a crocodile. Okay. And then it's just, they're like, okay, action. And the guy goes, ah. And they go, not like that, like more of a yelp. And then he goes, ah. And then you hear it. Ah! And you're like, that's it. That's the one, man.
Can you describe, like, I have a vision of a dude with a blonde mullet who looks like William.
I've only heard the audio. I don't know. I actually don't know what he.
I think I picture blonde mullet William Dafoe face is the guy that makes the noise.
I can see that, like some Klaus Kinski stuff.
What is that originally from? Why is it called?
I don't know, I guess maybe like Deep Blue Sea. That's a shark. Now that I think about it, there's got to be a crocodile monster movie.
Oh, it's not from a war movie.
I think maybe it's a war against the crocodiles or whatever.
You know what I think the scariest scream is of all time?
Okay, you go, then I'll go.
Okay, the Tim Roth from Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, ear scene.
What's that?
Ear scene. Or is he in the ear? It's been a while since I've seen Reservoir Dogs.
Like he's like in the back of the car and he's just like screaming and he's like huffing and like hunting.
He's holding his stuff together.
Yeah, but I feel like he's actually got his innards shot up. It just yeah, it's like I'm dying here, man. But he like hits different octaves. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen it in a while?
Yeah, I probably saw it in 2011 if I had to guess, but it's been a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. What's yours?
Toni Collette, Hereditary.
I've never seen it. What does she do?
It's a horror movie to watch. It's probably my favorite horror movie of all time, but it's a tricky watch for sure.
Tricky in what way?
It's really dark, and there's like some like parenting stuff in the movie as well.
Ooh.
If anything, I'm glad I saw it before I had a kid.
Yeah, I mean, you had me at dark. You had me excited at dark, and then you.
It's a great movie. It's an unbelievably great movie.
But you flushed me at parenting. I like dark movies, but I'm with you, brother.
No, I hear you.
Will you watch it again or no? It's once is enough.
Now I already know what happens, so I think I could.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be as comedic as it was the first time. That's for sure.
What else is Toni Collette in?
Mafia Mommy.
Never seen that.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Never seen that.
No, dude, you would like Little Miss Sunshine. Now that's another 5-star on Letterboxd in my house at least.
Wait, are you worried that I know that the answer is no, you're not worried, but like your letterboxing is going to take a severe hit due to your Sopranos.
I'm thinking maybe long rides on Saturday. Sorry, I'm on autopilot. I might hit 2 movies just to keep the movie coefficient up because the Letterboxd heads they need to eat, right?
Bro, you're riding for 3 hours on the weekend?
On Saturday, yeah.
What time you getting up at?
Like 4:30.
I was gonna say there's no way you're anywhere close to like premium morning time, and you're
no, because as soon as she wakes up, like that's when the day starts, right? Yeah. So you gotta get the hours somewhere.
So what time are you going to bed Friday night to clock a 4:30?
I always tell myself I'll try to get to bed by 8:30, but usually it's usually 9:15, 9:30.
Dude, that is impressive because that's like priority instead of like your ride is priority.
Yeah, I make it a priority, I'd say.
But that's like outside of family, wife, that's priority. That's got to be priority one.
Got to do something.
That is true.
Well, no, job is higher priority than the Peloton. In the sense that if one of them had to go away, it would be better for me if it was the bike. But
I believe you auditorily. Chat, when he said that, does the facial recognition like match up that? No, I'm with you. But
because I could always keep the job, dump the bike, and get like a treadmill or something.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do like a 3-hour walk.
I guess it's probably harder. There's too much impact.
Yeah. I like the save on the job though. That was a nice save.
I was thinking, they added YouTube to the Peloton, so you can now watch YouTube videos on the screen on the bike.
Oh, that's good.
I've always said I would never do a Peloton stream or video, but I think a funny bit is to record myself on a Peloton ride and then have it be like exactly 45 or 90 minutes long or whatever, and then publish it as like a 90-minute Northernlion scenic ride on the Peloton.
You should do that.
It would be like I'm riding alongside of you while I'm riding directly at you. So I could film it from the side, and every couple of minutes I could look over and be like, how you doing? You hanging in there?
I mean, you have to do it now.
You see this guy? You see this guy with his car? And
are you going to give any like encouraging words like Allie Love style, or no? Is it just
I'm not a trainer. I'm just riding the bike.
Let me ask, I think I know the answer. The answer is no, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Would you ever go to New York City to ride with your favorite person in the studio?
No, not anymore. I might have when I was taking classes in like 2022.
But like, what if it was like a family vacation, you had an hour to kill?
I don't do the classes anymore. I feel like I'd be taking up space from someone who could use it.
So you don't, you just scenic ride it or you movie ride it?
100% scenic movie on my phone.
That's deranged. Why don't you put the movie on the bike?
Doesn't have all the apps, man. Doesn't have all the apps.
Oh. I have a an old Peloton iPad hanger if you want it. I'll send it to you.
I already bought a $50 3D printed phone stand / drink holder. I've been rocking that for like 6 months.
Did you buy it off Etsy?
Amazon.
Really? How do you know it's 3D printed?
Well, I don't think it was. I mean, it's not like small batch.
What do you mean?
It's not made of like lumber and brass hinges. Let's put it that way.
There's no way it's 3D printed.
Maybe it's like plastic poured into a mold. It does look like a high chair. I'll give you that. It looks like a high chair. It looks like the table from a high chair. The chair is the bike.
In any world, let's just say that you're a 3D printing enthusiast. Well, not even that. Say that you got gifted a 3D printer, and I know you're not going to open it. You probably just give it away. What would be one thing you would 3D print that you would feel good about?
I don't know. I just don't have like a desire.
I know, but you had.
So it's like
to.
You're asking me like if someone gave me like fly fishing equipment, where would I fly fish? And I'm like, I don't know because I have no interest in the hobby right now.
Yeah, but it's different. You could make anything in the world. It's not like.
I could make anything in the world right now by just buying a 3D printer, I guess. Like that's not a real barrier to entry. It's not like they're a controlled substance. Like I don't need a license to buy a 3D printer. I could get that sorted out by Monday probably.
I know, but owning a 3D printer is laborious. You got to buy all the stuff, but you just have access to the thing for one time to make whatever you want. And there's nothing you would make.
What would you make? Give me some ideas.
I would make a stand for my mouse to put it in.
Is that solving a need that you have in your office?
No, but I just looked at the closest thing I could because I didn't want to give you an answer saying I'm not going to ever 3D print anything. I have no need for a 3D printer. Oh, all right.
Mouse stand. It's avant-garde. That's for sure.
Speaking of hammers, did you have a tough time getting a Switch too? I
would say that we had a tough time. Yeah. So Kate and one of our friends, they were like in Messenger 9 p.m. Pacific because a lot of the drops happened at midnight Eastern. Mm-hmm. So they were like sharing, like the Walmart page is up right now. Oh, this one's not going to be live till like 6 a.m. tomorrow. Like rumors come out. Oh, the Costco page is, if you click on this link, this special link that came via email, you can access the store page like a little early. So we struck out on the 9 p.m. ones.
Okay.
And then on the 9 a.m. ones, I had I got one with the 9 p.m.s, but then they canceled the order. So obviously I was like, I guess, overflow stock. 9 a.m., I placed 2 orders. One of them got canceled.
Okay.
So I got one, and then I think Kate managed to place 2 or 3 successful orders.
Wow.
So we don't know. We don't know yet because there's not going to be confirmation until like launch day.
So you're just hoping one of the handful comes in.
Ideally, we're hoping 2. But let me explain it to you because people crungo the bit because they were trying to buy multiples, but because I bought multiples, it made it harder for them to get multiples. We're in a 2-person household where both of us stream. So we want 2 Switch 2s. We had a third conspirator on Messenger with us who didn't get one. So a third Switch goes to him. Tonight, everybody eats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if the 4th one comes through, we're going to give it to Apollo because Apollo was not able to get one with the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, chat. How do you like that, chat? You don't have to explain it to me, brother. If you want to buy 200 Switches and go bathing in them, hey. Who am I to judge? Oh! Can I tell you my scenario?
Can I guess your scenario?
Yes.
Woke up the morning after the pre-orders had all happened. and everyone was talking about Switch 2, but you weren't aware that they were going to go live for pre-order at that time, and then going to like bestbuy.com and trying to get one and then being surprised that it said sold out?
Well, how did you have to get the websites right too, man? You could have, if you would have said games. How did you know? Why did you know I went to Best Buy?
Because GameStop's a little bit more like, like at Best Buy, you're like, I'm shopping for technology. Yeah. At GameStop, you're like, we all know what I'm here for.
So that's my scenario to the T, but the additional scenario, and this is probably, it is what it is. I said, hey, how do I get a Switch on Twitter? And then someone's like, I got 2. I live in Michigan. You want one? And I'm like, sure. What's the deal? And then it was like 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then I stopped responding.
Oh, what were the paragraphs like?
Like, hey, like here, just like just pay me this. Where do you want to meet up? I live in this town, and I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Right? Yeah, I can understand that.
But I'm also like weighing it out because on launch day you want to switch, right?
Well, hey, can I just? I got another sentence, not even a paragraph, you could send to them.
Yeah.
And here's what it says verbatim.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for your offer. You ever hear of a stamp? You could just, I think stamps are like 70 cents or whatever. You can just slap a stamp on that bad boy and send it over. We don't need to involve all the, like a neutral meeting place.
True. Very true. But there's a couple holes in the story.
Okay.
One is I won't get it on launch day.
Right. It'll probably be like a day later.
And then 2, what if he takes the money and runs?
Maybe like a half now, half later type situation.
Yeah, but that's still a half I could be out.
All right. Well, like,
what are my other options?
Yeah, I mean, what do you want? Do you want like a 0 risk option? You could wait till they restock Best Buy.
Well, someone told me, I don't know if this is true, I believed it to be true, that, and now it sounds kind of ludicrous now that I'm saying it out loud, but that if you owned a Switch 1 on Nintendo.com, you automatically get a Switch 2.
There's an invite system. You can like sign up for an invite from them.
Yeah, but I was told guaranteed because they want the people.
Really?
Yeah, that's not true.
Chad, he's not saying you get it for free. He's saying you get like there's an inventory for you if you want it.
Yeah.
To pay for it at the price.
Like to take care of your regulars, Like when Norm pulls up to the bar, you slide him a Coors Light. I'm pulling up to the bar I've been to frequent at, and they slide you one. But so what is chat saying? That's not true? And because I thought I'm like, that's a genius way to stop scalpers, right?
You know what's got me ticked off? I'm a big if you want to know the source of the problem, analyze the system, right?
Okay.
So I'm catching a little. It's light heat. It's like ambient heat, but for having like up to 4 possible switch orders. But I wouldn't need to have 4 switch orders if I could actually rely on the retailers to ship what they said they were going to ship. Like as of like 9:17 p.m., the night that the pre-orders came out, I was good. I was sorted. I was like, I can go to bed. Then I wake up to like, oh, actually your order's been canceled. So and I'm reading like Reddit comments from people too that are like, oh, like I got my order on Walmart, but I made 1 extra order on like Staples just in case. And I'm like, you know what? I wish that I could pretend to be self-righteous and be like, that's making it harder for everybody. But I'm like, I get it, because they cancel your order. Well, they'll just be like, oops, we oversold it. Sorry.
I never felt like that before, except with Switch 2, because I'm like, what are all these jabronis getting multiple, like even this guy that tweeted me, what are you doing? What's he doing with multiple Switches?
Well, he's probably got the same system going on, right? He's probably like, in case they cancel one order, at least I got a backup.
Yeah, but
I'm sure there are people that bought 5 dozen to scalp. But I think most people are like, they just get one with redundancy.
But then, so what do they do with the second one that comes in? Just cancel it?
I would like to think that they put it up on Marketplace for MSRP and it'll be gone in like 3 seconds. But
you don't think that happens?
I think some people will do that. If we end up with a surplus somehow that we can't account for, that's what I would do. But I don't know. People are like, if I can get an extra $100 for it, then I'll, who's to say? I think that's because dude, you wouldn't believe it. We did that thought experiment in your chat today. You're at the casino. Your friend gives you $200 to gamble after you bust. You hit 262 on the jackpot. How much do you break them off? You were more noble than you had to be, in my opinion. You said you give him 200 and take the 62.
200,000, yeah, because it's not my money. You're loaning my skill.
I think that's. You took it further than I think you had to take it, but I think that's nice.
What would you do?
Well, I would break him off half.
But without him, you have zero. Without his bankroll.
But we're boys. So why we bring in like this 70-30 into it? We're boys. We're two of us. We split it 50-50.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good story.
Or if it's all his money, why don't you give him 262?
Because he's using my skill to get the money.
But your skill wouldn't have meant anything if the money wasn't there.
That's true. What do most people do? Was that a Reddit post?
It was.
What happened in the real scenario? Friendship over?
The median comment. So the most common comment was 50-50. Okay. The top comment was 20K. And then you keep 232 for yourself. Ooh. And that's when I realized that like that's gambling addiction. Your friend gives you $200, you hit a jackpot, and you're like, here's a broker's fee. I'll keep the rest for myself, keep the party going.
Wow. I mean, at that point, don't give him his $200 back. That's insulting. I
think so.
I mean, $20,000 is a lot of money, but not compared to $262,000 that you couldn't even touch without your buddy.
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, I feel like 131 is the base case. We can talk. If you really want to get into the weeds, we could talk about, it should be 100, 162 or 262. I think I would say, let's make this easy. 131 for you, 131 for me.
Did the person say the follow-up post of what actually happened?
No, I think they were like Chat GPT. I think they were farming karma. But it's it revealed something about society, I think.
Well, I think we're not saying anything that hasn't been said before. Anytime money is interjected into a relationship, family, friends, whatever, it gets dicey, man. It gets dicey.
It can change it for sure.
So let me ask you this. You go out to eat with a new couple, like you and Kate go out, or, friends.
New couple, like we don't know them that well, or new couple, like they just started dating?
No, like new couple you don't know. Like they're married. Maybe you met them through school, like your kid's school.
Okay, yeah.
But you like them. You guys get along. Oh, we should go out to dinner sometime. You go out to dinner. It's a nice dinner. Check comes.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
First meal.
Yes.
Separate checks.
So when the waitress comes, you're saying, yeah, put these on separate checks.
Yeah, but I also, info, that's more common. I know it's accepted in the US, but it's much more common in Canada for sure.
Okay. What do you do?
There's never been a situation where I've been at a restaurant and they're like, we don't do separate checks. They do it almost by default up here.
Okay. What do you do if they take the check and say, we got it?
I protest once. Okay. And then if they insist, I abstain. I move to the side and I say, we got the next one. We'll get you back next time.
Okay. What is the level of your protest?
I'm not going to get in a fight over it, but I'll be like, no, like, let's split it or we'll give you cash. And if they're like, no, it's no problem. I'm like, okay, we got you next time.
Okay. I think you solved a big dilemma.
This is not just like an Asian thing, but I go through it a lot with my extended family, like my in-laws. So I've done some smooth maneuvers in my life. My brother-in-law never lets me pay for anything. You go out to brunch You go out to brunch with the whole family. So I'll pull a move like this. Hey, I just got to go to the bathroom. On my way to the bathroom, roll up to the desk and be like, hey, I want to pay for our table. And then you pay for it. and then you sit down at the table, nobody's the wiser. And then someone's like, oh, he's like, we'll take the bill. And they're like, oh, it's already covered. And then he goes, yeah, you got me.
That is duck smoke. But why? In Asian culture, is that, should you not pay, or what's the tip? Like, I don't know.
You fight over the bill. Like, it's, you won't let anybody else pay for the bill.
Got it. So
to the point, like, you could, well, yes, I should say oldest pays. And then like in Korean culture, there's like a lot of, it's age based, but then also like the oldest son is also like, there's a lot of pressure heaped upon the oldest son.
So it'd be disrespectful to the family if you know, the oldest son doesn't grab the check. It's kind of typically.
Depends on the situation. He could take offense to his, what do you call someone who's younger? Not an elder, but like he might take offense to someone that's younger than him saying, I'm more capable to pay the bill than you, which is an unspoken message of grabbing the bill. But our culture is not really like that. I feel like North American culture is more like you'd split everything down to like and I feel like it's also silly, but in the opposite direction, that people are like, well, I wouldn't even split the bill in half, even with my best friend. I would make sure that it's fully itemized down to the molecule. Like, oh, well, I had 8 of the mozzarella sticks and you had 6. So I'll give you an extra $1.75 for that part of the bill. Like, it's just, that's too far.
So let me ask this: if you were to, you go out to eat with your family, your extended family, and you say, let's split it, is that the worst thing you could do?
Yeah.
Because the
worst thing you could probably do is say, you pay for this. Because then you've given them an obligation but robbed them of the honor of volunteering. But the other thing would be like, we'll all pay for ourselves. I feel like that would be like, that's the last time we're ever going out to eat together.
Okay.
And Chad's talking about it. I did see a story online that was like an American guy working in the Netherlands. And he was like, every time I go out to eat with my coworkers, like they make me Venmo them like the exact amount of like whatever I ate on their bill was. And then one time, one of them invited me over for coffee, had a good time, had a nice conversation. When I got home, there was a 75-cent Venmo request for the cup of coffee that I had from their house. And I don't know if that's real, but that's crazy to me. That's insane.
That's wild. But when you pulled the old, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom routine, paid the bill, that is the only acceptable way for you to pay the bill, because and it's also after you've been like leeching thousands of meals off your brother-in-law.
You can fight for it, but okay. I'm a fight for it once, and if they say no, we got it, then I'm like, I just say thank you.
Okay.
But if I want to pay for it, I have to weather like 6 protests. I have to be like, no, we got it. It's okay. It's okay. We got it. You got the last one. We got it.
Got it. Okay.
And then they might still try to like sneak like a few 20s like into your cup holder when you're in the house. They'll be like, I just have to go out and do something. Then you're driving home and you're like, son of a.
But see, that's a much more pleasant experience than splitting every molecule.
I think so.
But
I prefer it a little bit more holistic.
But I often,
and I think it depends on where you're at in life too. Yeah. But like, if you want to keep score, you can keep score on a variety of things, right? Like you can keep score down to the dollar, make sure it's even. Keep score down to like who ate the most and make sure that it's fair. But then you got to consider, the financial standing of everybody at the table. Like, is it fair that the person that's working a minimum wage job is paying the same amount for their burger that you're paying, even though your parents gave you like a $10 million inheritance? Like, that doesn't seem fair to me. Like, it depends how you want to slice it, right? So I kind of like, I consider that when you draft up an agreement like that, I like to leave a little bit of wiggle room in there, a little bit of liquidity, just to lube it up.
And what's the liquidity in this case?
It's, I don't worry about the fact that maybe your appetizer was $18 and mine was 12. Like we enjoyed our meal. We had as much as we wanted to have. Everyone ate till they were full, and the company was nice. So we'll split the bill accordingly, or today you, tomorrow me.
Well, I feel like that is the normal baseline of enjoyment and how most people are. I feel that the check splitters I feel like that's the outlier, at least in Michigan. Like
I think as you get older too, people become more like laissez-faire about it. Like when I was in college, it was like, here's the bill. Your beers were 50 cents more, and we had 10 of them. So you should be putting 5 extra in the pot.
Yeah. Because why aren't you drinking Busch Light like the rest of us?
That dude decided he wanted to get the imports instead of the domestics.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But I'll be honest, I have a hard time accepting someone taking the bill.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Because it's like, I don't know why, but I feel like the older brother all the time.
It doesn't bother me at all.
But I think I think I'm going to take your warpath though. Like you say, offer it up, but then after I offer it up, I keep offering up. I'd never reduce to say, hey, I got it next time, and then actually, you know what I mean? I think that gives me the out to be okay with it, because then I will get it next time.
So if someone pays for your dinner, do you feel like there's something imbalanced in your ledger?
I feel like
you're like, we have to make plans for the next dinner so that I can pay and get it off the books.
Not that I have to, but I want to, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I don't owe them, but that's a huge gesture, and I'm like, that was really nice. So I'm not just gonna take your niceness and keep slurping it up without returning it.
Can I say that I think it also depends? Because there's a big difference in like 4 adults going out for dinner, and then like you and your kids, a sibling and a sibling's kids, and both grandparents are there, and maybe like one of the grandparents' siblings is there too, and they bring like a couple cousins or something like that. So you're out with like 4 adults and you get a bill. You're like, okay, no big deal. But then all of a sudden you're paying for like 12, 13 people all of a sudden, and you're like, I'd like to do this again.
Well, that's a good thing about the Disney cruise, man. I really like that took that element out of it, because otherwise I would have been taking bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it just removed that, chess game.
I hear you, man.
But also, there's some people at the table sometimes that want to be splitters.
I didn't think it would be like that.
They want, like, I can tell in their face they want to split.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, the people who order the cheapest stuff always want to pay for what they order, which I think may make sense.
Would you?
But like the way the way I would look at that is if I have a rapport with the people that we're eating with, and like what Kate and I ordered, let's say it came to like $50-$60 Canadian, and what they ordered came to like $30 Canadian, I would be like, don't even sweat it, we'll just cover it.
Yeah.
You guys ate like, you split an appetizer and an entree, and then we had an appetizer and 2 entrees. Like, you guys are good. Don't even worry about it.
I'm with you, because I feel like, and then you suck all of any awkwardness out of the room by making that move, for sure. Yeah,
because there's an element of like, it's not that you don't care. It's more like I had a feeling that was going to happen. But it's more like you're like, there's more important stuff. I don't want to compromise the mood of the dinner by being like, hey, by the way, about that, bruschetta you haven't paid me for yet. And that's a luxury, admittedly, but I just don't want to make it weird. But I do make it weird in the other way. Like I was at the dad's dinner for our school, and I had to leave a little bit early. I was doing that. I didn't want to wait for the bill, so I was like, can I just cash someone up and you pay for my bill? And I was doing the math in my head, and I was like, I had 1 drink and like a light entree, so it's probably like $25.
When you say, can I cash someone up, do they know what that meant? Because I don't know what that means.
That would be like you give them cash, and then they put the bill on their card.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I was like, it probably comes to about $25. I had cash on me. I just gave him 40 because I wanted to send a message that's like, I'm not going to give you exact change plus like no tip, right? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like, here's a little float. But now I got like a floating ledger with one of the dads because he messaged me and he was like, hey, you gave me like way too much cash. But like the number keeps getting increasingly smaller every time we hang out because we can't quite hit like the exact target. So I probably overpaid by like $12. And then we like went out for lunch and they covered an appetizer or something. And now like I'm down $6.50 or something. Like it's just never gonna get to zero, I think.
What are these? So these are school dad lunches?
Yeah, we got like we got a WhatsApp group chat. We try to get together like once a term.
For just the dads?
Just the dads, yeah.
What do you guys talk about?
Don't worry, the moms got their own stuff, okay?
What do you guys talk about? Because it's not like someone you see all the time. Like, is the WhatsApp outside of the dad's dinners? Is that thing firing up daily?
It's never firing until the dinner. Okay. and then it fires for people to be like, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. But I'm hoping I'm gonna start a dad's fantasy league in maybe like July and hope to really kickstart.
It'll bridge the gap because you don't know. Essentially, you don't know these dudes from Earl if you've gone on like 3 dinners with them, 4 dinners.
Yeah,
whatever.
I see them at birthday parties like every third weekend. But
and be like, hey, you got that $6.50? All right, so fantasy league. Okay, mm-hmm. so you're plotting the next move.
Littlefinger, yeah.
Are these like rent the room type dinners or 6 dudes, 12 dudes?
Nah, big table. Not quite rent the room, but big table.
8 dudes.
Nah, 15, 16 dudes.
Oh, that's a lot of dudes.
It's big, yeah.
Let me ask you this. I know you don't have expectations of the 15 dudes, so just 16, keep it nice and round. What's the expectation of fantasy football participants?
I bet I can get 8.
Okay. Will you look at the other 8 in a different light, like they're not being a dude?
You know what, I would look at it, and I would look at them and I would say, I bet they would want to do this. They're going to feel a little left out, but they're probably just too busy with work and family right now.
Okay. So
who wouldn't want to be in a fantasy football league? Wait, knowing that you're giving up a very small amount of time, but creating like a ton of, I mean, like the conversational lubricant is crazy, right?
Yeah.
You can talk about the games, you could talk about the players, you got the draft, you could talk about your matchups with each other, who you're going to play this week.
You could talk about which teachers you would draft.
I don't know if I go that far.
Sorry. I don't mean that, but I had to do it. All right, sorry. So that's the only time I get a little awkward is because there's, dads at my kid's school, and sometimes like not the dads I hang out with, sometimes like you run into some dads and they'll say some other teacher. I'm like, bro, it's a teacher. Like, I don't know what to say to get out of that. I'm like, I just don't say anything,
That's crazy. So we never had that conversation. That's something I could bring up next time, maybe.
But it's like, you're putting me in a tough spot, man. Like, what do you want me to say? No, the thing I care about the teacher is, are they teaching? I don't care about anything else anyway.
Right.
But, I wouldn't even say that's crazy. I just don't say anything because if you say,
I think that's the play.
Yeah, because what are you gonna say? Like, dude, that's it's a teacher. So then you're blowing up his spot. I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, I don't think you should blow up his spot, but I don't think they should be talking like that.
Me neither.
I don't feel like we got that at our dad dinners. I feel like we have very like enlightened, scared to offend, like modern millennial coastal dads.
Okay.
In my group. I'll give you an example, okay? I need a second here to remember the exact context. One of the dads, their wife did 23andMe.
Okay.
And then decided after she got the folder that she didn't want to open Pandora's box. The question at its core is like, would you want to know if you had like a genetic predisposition to have a disease or something like that? Like, would you rather go sight unseen and like not be stressed out about it? Or would you rather know and be like, okay, maybe I've got a 91% chance of getting something like horrific when I'm 55, right? Mm-hmm. So she did the test, but then she decided, I don't want to know. But then for like insurance purposes, they were like pressuring her to open it or something like that. And she made her husband promise not to open it.
Okay.
And then the dad next to me was like, so did you open it? And I looked at him and I said, don't be naive. Because in my head, I was like, we're all dudes here. Of course he opened it. How could you not, man? You got that juicy packet of information sitting on your countertop for like 6 months. You don't even want to have like a peek or nothing. And I got no response at all. And then he said, no, of course I didn't look at it. And I was like, all right. I guess I didn't realize that we're all based here. But nobody feels the pull of temptation at all. Okay.
So you black sheeped yourself, but then
I think it humanized me as a man who has strengths and weaknesses.
Because you read the room and then backtracked and apologized?
No, because I willfully admitted perhaps a weakness instead of trying to project the artifice of strength in all situations.
See, I thought you would have came out and said, yeah, there's no way I'm looking at that, bro. If Kate tells me I have to do something, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, do you know my wife? Like, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's what that's
I don't know his wife. I don't know his wife might get over it but faster. My wife I'd be put in a rear naked choke or something like that. I'd be in a lot of trouble, man.
That's what I mean. So that's what I would think your response would match your reality, but your response was an alternate reality.
Well, if I was married to his wife, maybe I would have taken a peek.
But here's the thing. Have you ever done 23andMe?
No.
Would you ever?
I would have like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't now because Chad has, I don't think it's necessarily a conspiracy theory, but Chad was like, you should not give your DNA and health data to a company to sell to advertisers and various other companies. I'm
shocked. You needed Chad to tell you that. Every year my mom gets me like Christmas gifts, and I always tell her, Mom, don't buy me anything because I always return them. This year they were socks, like crew length socks with zippers on them so you could store stuff in them. And I said, Ma, I don't. I go, Ma, what are we doing here? Like, I don't need it. And then,
so it's a sock with a pocket?
Yes. And then
like you could put your phone in it or what?
Yeah. She goes, I thought you'd use it like coaching the boys.
Running.
Coaching the boys Little League. I go, Ma, I'm not putting gum in there. I don't need it. And then I pull the socks up and then there's a sealed 23andMe under it. And I go, Ma, I threw it. I go, I'm not using this. I'm not, what makes you think I want to do this? In what world?
Yeah.
And so I still have it sealed. And I'm like, if I want to like resell it or something, because it's just
it's a kit for you to spit into, basically.
Yes.
And then send it back. Okay. It's not like she didn't take her data and then like is giving you the envelope.
No. She wanted me to do it. I go, I'm not doing that. What do I? But I thought that's like common knowledge that you don't do that. But you had to.
I think that honestly, I really feel like our generation specifically, but also the generations older than us, were really naive, especially in the early 2010s. It was like this tech utopia where it would be like, oh my God, there's a new app for this. Have you seen this? And you can send them that and they'll give you this and it's insights into and you wouldn't believe they scan you and then they can look at you and it gives you the ad that's exactly what you were like. We were willfully like, I'll sign up for that. I'll put my personal data into there. I'll put my address into there. And now we're in like the overcorrection, which is like, I won't sign up for anything. If they want an app, I'm not downloading it. You want my phone number when I'm buying jeans? Sure, you can have it. It's 867-5309. Sure. Oh, wow, you got a lot of points on here. You know, I'm not giving them any more information. Like, so, and 23andMe is like the ultimate example of that. So like 10 years ago, I could see myself being like, but now I know that I'm 7% Slovenian. And now I'm like, I'm not doing that. And it ticks me off because we have like a mystery in our family heritage. Nobody knows what we are. We're obviously white, okay? Like you don't get any bonus points for that. But I like talking to my mom, and my mom's like, well, we know that like great grandma came over from England. Great grandpa was Canadian. So that's like as far as we know. So we know nothing essentially, because I mean, there's English DNA somewhere in our history. Okay, congratulations. No kidding, right? So I was talking to my grandma, trying to figure out like, hey, you know, what about like your grandfather? Where was he from? And she was like, I don't really know. She's useless to me, man. There's no information whatsoever. We have the oldest matriarch in our family, who is our connection to our ancestry, has no idea where we're from, which doesn't even seem possible to me. How you can, nobody talked about it at all back then. It's just lost to the ether. So I feel like I'm in a unique subset that would be like, I would love to know what kind of genetics are going on up in here, but I'm not gonna pay Sergey Brin's wife $100 just to get my genome stolen. That's madness.
But dude, why don't you just ask me? Le Tournant? You're French, man. What? No, is it that big? Come on, you don't think you're French?
Okay, here's the thing though. The name is French, but think about how names are passed on in our society. It could have just been one French Richard Dawson that happened to show up at the right time, and boom, little bit of French DNA creates 100% French last names. That doesn't mean I'm 90% French. It just means that I could be 100% French, or there could just be one rizzed up French guy that all of a sudden his influence has spread so far, but my genes could be Albanian for all I know.
But you know you're at least 50% French.
No, I know that when the person that was created, when the French guy married the other woman, who may have been French, to be fair, but could have also been like from Cameroon, that kid was 50% French. But I don't know if I'm 70 links away from that. I could be 0.25% French, or if I'm 6 links away from that and I'm 12.5% French. Or I could be 75% French. Like we don't know. We don't know how distant it is in the familial record, man.
Well, here's how you know. What if Laterno means like donkey kicker, then you know you're French and you had a donkey farm. But does Laterno mean anything in French?
I think so, yeah.
What does it mean?
I don't know. The turn?
Oh, well, then
he who turns, I have no idea.
Oh, you're screwed then. I mean, can you can you do an 23andMe Anon edition? Why don't you just do that?
Like, you know what I should do, dude?
Huh?
I should send it into one of those dog 23andMe companies. And they're like, oh, it turns out that your dog is like 71% Greek or something like that. I'd be like, thank you.
Wait.
Opa.
Why don't you just do Anon 23andMe? Then they don't
think you can do that, man. I don't think you can do that.
We'll use a fake name.
I mean, I guess, but I'm giving them like my DNA.
Yeah, but they don't.
So like, even though it's not attached to my name, they can like reverse engineer it pretty quickly, right? Because they got everything, man. They got the recipe. But that's like saying like, I'm not going to make you the baked ziti, but here's the step-by-step instructions and the exact measurements of all the ingredients. Like they can make the ziti.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the ziti isn't worth anything unless they know it's called ziti, right? To them, it's just a bunch of tomatoes. Yeah, but
because the more people that are putting out ziti, the less I can charge for my ziti.
But here's the thing: they don't know they have ziti. They just know they have a bunch of ingredients, but they don't know that the ingredients make the ziti or how to make the ziti. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the only value your DNA has is that people know it's Northernlion's DNA. If it's just some randoms, they're just going to throw it in the random pile.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it.
If there was a way to do it Anon, would you do it?
If I'm trying to think of I'm trying to find a genuine non-absurd level. If our public health system, not a public health system subcontracting it out to a private testing agency, if my family doctor said we can do a genetic sequence on you, and it only passes through her computer, essentially. It goes to the government lab, and then it goes to her computer, I might be open to it.
Okay.
And the reason is maybe there'd still be a leak or something, obviously. But like the HIPAA stuff is so tight that I can't even access like my own medical data in most circumstances. Like I have to answer like 7 skill testing questions in order to figure out like what my x-ray said, right? Because they don't want to accidentally tell like another guy that my leg's not broken.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they take the data protection more seriously.
Okay. So
what would it take for you? Because you are not going to do it either.
I don't think I would because my grandmothers asked those questions and they gave me like
you kind of got an idea too, right? You're like I'm a percent this, a percent that.
But if I were you, if I were like, you know, out there in the ethos with no, you know, House Targaryen, House Lannister, I would want to know what house I'm from.
It would be sick to have like a culture. Because I feel like, I know Kate's in chat, I feel like that's what I'm missing. So I participate in a little bit of Korean culture because like Kate's parents are Korean and they celebrate like in a more traditional way the Korean holidays. So sometimes I'll put on the hanbok. Yeah, you never seen a white guy in a hanbok before? People coming up to you in the North Road Plaza H Mart parking lot. You know that outfit's Korean? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm wearing it in the H Mart parking lot. But like the white culture that I interface with is just like, I don't know. It's like 2 to 3 generations deep. Like there's no real tradition associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's there's like a this is what we eat, but it's really like, you know, turkey on Christmas. There's no like, I mean, I don't know what it was the food of my people. Maybe like grilled cheese. It would be sick if it came back and I could like tell my mom, I'd be like, Mom, guess what? Like we're 80% Swiss. And then we could start saying stuff that made no sense and was not scientific. We'd be like, I always knew it because I loved eating cheese so much. I always gravitated towards cold mountainous spaces, right? Like we could start to make sense of our identities with some information like that.
Well, then hear me out. Then you find out you have cousins in Switzerland.
Right.
And then there's someone like you doing the same thing. And you're like, that's your people.
On Swiss YouTube.
And they look like you. And you thought you were the only one.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe I'd probably hate it, actually, now that I think about it.
I mean, as an only child, I would probably say, yeah, you probably wouldn't like it. But still.
Because I'm one of one.
Yeah.
But then, like, realistically, there's probably like a few hundred of me out there at least. If we're being realistic.
I know you don't read, but don't read the book Dark Matter. Because it's like your worst nightmare. Like imagine at the end of your road, like say you're 83 years old, someone knocks on your hospital bed.
Can I just say you did go like that's old.
What?
But you didn't do me any favors.
What? 83?
Yeah.
I mean, brother, the Peloton's gonna give you +7 to 8.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like 83 is like you're batting above the average a little bit, but you didn't really. You could have put a little sauce on it.
I counted for the Peloton, but I also reduced a few for the toe walking. That puts a lot of strain on your heart. But
no, it increases the muscle mass and the impact of walking, which keeps your bones strong through old age.
Right, but it requires more blood to support those things. So you're 83.
But I'm eating a lot. I'm eating a lot right now, so replacing the blood is not a problem.
Right, but it's gonna catch up with you. Like, do you think when you're 83, you're gonna be able to walk around on your toes?
Yes.
No, bro. The arthritis is gonna kick in those bad boys.
It's probably gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah. So then you're gonna.
I think I'll still be able to walk.
You will, but not on your toes.
But like me walking right now is not more exertion than you walking, because it's like normalized to my level of acclimation.
Let me ask you this: if you didn't walk on your toes, do you think your calves would be the same size they are right now?
No, they would be substantially smaller.
That require less blood.
We're conflating a lot of different things here.
Okay.
What does the amount of blood something requires have to do with longevity?
Because you're using more of your nutrients to support, I'm just going to say it, abnormally large calves for someone of your height.
Yeah, but what is there any correlation between that and an outsized chance of dying early?
Year over year, no. Decade over decade, yes. It's like, hey, is this little drip in my house going to cause any damage? No, of course not in the roof. But over 30 years...
You can make a metaphor, but that doesn't mean the metaphor has scientific validity, man.
Okay.
Or it could be like, when you had chest pain when you were 15 and you were like, oh, if that keeps going, it's probably bad. And then it stopped and you never had to think about it again. It could be that. It could be that time that you had like one horrible bowel movement and you're like, I'm not going to go to the doctor for that. But if my next one's that bad, I got to go to the ER. And then a day later, you take a bowel movement and it's perfectly normal and you've never had to worry about it since.
All right. So what life expectancy number would you rather me placed on? Because I thought 83 was pretty good, man.
83 is fine.
What did you want?
I would say maybe like 89.
Man, I've seen you.
You just don't see it. You just don't see it.
I've seen you go on bizarre rants against Chad. Man, every one of those is knocking a quarter of your life off at 4 months minimum. And I've been seeing a lot of them lately, but that's okay.
No, but because when I do that, my blood pressure raises.
Yes.
The blood, it's like a pressure washer on the sides of my veins and arteries. It knocks the plaque off the side of the wall. And then shoots it out the next time I go to the bathroom. So I'm keeping the roads clear.
All right, you know what? I'd put you at plus 125 to make it to 89. It's a
slight underdog.
Yes, not by much, but you're not going to surprise.
I don't take offense. I also feel like people don't think about the fact that like 89 is old. Like the average guy in North America probably makes it to 79, 80.
No.
To go 9 years over that is like that's substantial. It probably puts you like, in the upper like 80 to 85 percentile of male longevity.
No, the average male dies at 68, man. At least in the US.
I don't want to be this guy. To make the data relevant, not to Malcolm Gladwell you have to take Alaska, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi out of the data.
Why?
You got to take them out because it's not representative of the lifestyle we lead up here.
Because a lot of grizzly bears kill people in Alaska. Is that why?
It's the po' boy sandwiches and the fried chicken with country gravy for breakfast and the hard C, not the CZ, but the hard C, with the corn syrup.
So you're telling me that everyone in Louisiana eats like that?
No, but I bet if you were to I bet there's a 6-year difference between the state with the highest male longevity and the lowest male longevity. Okay. Like if you were to put Colorado up against Mississippi.
Okay.
I bet there's a 6-year difference.
Librarian, pull that up. I would say it's a negligible difference, like a year or two.
And I picked Colorado as like I don't know if that's one with I guess Hawaii makes a lot more sense, as Chad is telling me.
Okay.
Can I say something with it's going to get crungoed? But it's all because people are posting, hey, Vancouver's got an average age of not average age, but average age of death of 85.6. There's a lot of older Asian people in Vancouver. They got the longevity genes historically. Part of it, I'm sure, is lifestyle, but like you're looking at me, you're looking at my wife, and you're like, who's going to be around longer? She's got a lot of advantages stacked in her favor. Okay. She's younger. She's smaller. She has a genetic lineage that more associated with longevity than whatever the hell I am.
Okay.
She doesn't crash out 5 times a day.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't think anyone would either, unless, they're worried about something other than being correct.
That's why I got to do 23andMe, because imagine it came back and it was like, surprise, buddy, you're from a Japanese blue zone. 49% of your DNA is from like Hokkaido. And I'd be like, I knew it. I always knew, man. I always knew.
So, I mean, because it surprised me your desire. Like, you have a really strong desire to learn. Like, I would say way more than I thought. But you're more worried about them doing something nefarious with your DNA. Like, what would they do with it?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's my DNA.
Yeah, but
so I think the onus should be on them to be like, here's a compelling case for me to want your DNA. Because it's the base case for me is that I don't want to give it to you because why should I give you anything that I don't have to give you?
But you need their service.
No.
Yes.
They're offering their service.
Right. But for you to get the answers you want, how else can you get them?
Well, I live in uncertainty.
Right.
Right now, they're not making a case for a good enough case to compel me to use their services. But one thing they could, you know how behavioral economics works. They could pay me $500 and give me the results of the test, and then I would be substantially more likely to give them the sample.
That's what your DNA's worth? I'm sure there's a lot of... look.
That's a starting point.
I'm just saying there's probably a lot of people in chat that would take you up on that offer right now, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to your chat, but I also...
The price goes up depending on the customer. So if chat wants it, that's a different thing.
But here's the thing. Don't you think if someone wanted your DNA, they could already have it?
Yeah, but that doesn't really concern me. Because I'm not worried about West Elm Caleb like getting a strand of shoulder hair and creating a golem in his house or something like that. You don't feel like I'm of this position, and it's happening more and more. Kate will tell you, like as I get older. When you're young, they ask for your email address when you buy a pair of shoes.
Yes.
You're like, I guess that's what you have to do to buy shoes. Here's my email address. The older I get, the more I'm like, that doesn't make sense. People were buying shoes in 1803 before email even existed. So why do we have to bring that into the system here? I just say like, I'd rather not.
Do you say that to a clerk? I'd rather not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do they give you a weird look?
No, most of the time, my heart goes up to like 130 beats per minute in anticipation of saying it. And then they go, oh, okay.
Why don't you just give them a burner email?
It's cowardly.
Oh. Well, you don't read your email anyways. David does.
That's true. I should start giving them the business inbox.
I think in the next decade, you're going to send your DNA in.
I don't think so, man.
Do you deal well with the unknown?
Yes. I think I would trying to think of the best way to describe it. I think I am a person who would rather not know.
If there was a magic crystal ball and says you're going to die on March 17th, 2036, you don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
Because I accept the idea that I should be living. The idea that you would live every day as if it's your last is ridiculous, because you would be in prison or like your life would suck. Let's put it that way. It would be really good maybe for like a couple years, and then it would all fall apart irreparably. But like, yeah, I would rather not know when I was going to die, because I think it would also ruin the remaining time that I had. The exception is you would use it to be like, well, I'm not going to do this thing that I don't want to do because I'm going to be dead in 6 months anyway. But I think like the undercurrent of every single day would be like, oh, I'm having a great day. Too bad I'm going to die in 7 years. So like, what does it matter anyway? I think I'd rather be like unaware.
But so you don't think like if you knew and you're out at the ice cream shop and you're with your family having a good time and you're like, oh, like, I want to remember this, everyone having such a good time at the ice cream shop, because this could be the last time.
I think it can be a useful model or a lens to look at your life through, but I already try to practice looking at my life through that lens on a regular basis. I would love to say a daily basis, but I keep that idea in the forefront of my mind. Like every time I go out for ice cream, in my head, I'm like, the quality of your life is basically the sum total of times that you had ice cream in your life. Like, I'm already thinking like that. Almost every day I have a decision that I make via the lens of like, I will not be here one day. How should that inform my decision from this point onwards?
You think about that weekly?
Daily.
Daily?
Daily, I'm reminded of the fact that I will die someday, sooner or later, and like act accordingly as a result. Not in a depressing way, like none of this matters at all, but more in the way like what ticks me off, to go back to my normal characterization, is when they ask people on their deathbed, what are your regrets in your life? First off, if I'm dying, don't ask me that. That's going to stress me out, man. Can you just like bring me some snacks or something, or put some stuff on the TV that I like? Like, I don't want. Hey, you're on your way out. You made a lot of mistakes in your life. Any advice for those of us who aren't as old and busted as you? Like, I don't want that, okay? But then I also feel like they're biased sources, because they never talk about, they always talk about like big swings. You know, they don't talk about what I feel like life actually is. The bulk of it is like day to day. They're always like, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I took that big swing on the girl I had a crush on in high school or whatever. Oh, I wish I picked up the phone when Ed McMahon called or something like that. And I'm like, that stuff is like, I feel like that's very small in your life. I feel like an attitude change when you're our age can have a huge impact on the quality of your life. If you start to prioritize like, hey, I'm going to die someday, I probably will have wished that I didn't stress so much about whether there was going to be a bizarre episode and instead just like chilled out a little bit, and also like ate dessert more often or something like that. That's the way that mortality informs the decisions that I make.
Well, as someone,
like I almost use it as a balm. If I'm like stressed out, I'm like, oh, I haven't had enough time to record bizarre episodes. And I'm like, well, you're going to be dead someday. At that point, are you really going to be like, oh, I didn't make enough content? Like, that was my bad for sure, by the way. But like the exception is, hey, I didn't get my work done. Now, like I have dire financial consequences for me and my family. Like that's a different conversation. But sometimes, you know, you forget about the trees and you just see the forest. Or if you forget about the forest, you just see the trees.
Well, as someone who's known you for an extended period of time, over a decade, I would not say that is where you started. What flipped that? Because you weren't speaking with this kind of sage advice when we were running through the streets of Sandhawk and blasted by umpies.
Well, you know, as you get older, I think especially if you have a kid, you start to think about, you think long term.
Yeah.
Which I think is also like why when you're like 24, you're like, I'm old. But then when you have a kid and you're like 40, you're like, I'm still pretty young.
So that helps you, like, instead of, you know, someone keyed your car, instead of blowing a gasket, you're just like, oh, it doesn't matter.
If it's within my capacity to recontextualize, but sometimes, yeah, I'll be driving and I'll be like stressed out that I'm going to be like 2 minutes late for something, because being late, just in a binary way, being like 3 seconds late stresses me out. I try to step back and like recontextualize it within the scope of my life and be like, in the whole scheme of things, it doesn't really matter as much as it feels like it matters right now. Like there's stuff that matters, and like continuously making a habit of being late might impact that in like some material way, but like probably better to just chill out and like not get into a car accident because you're stressed out you're going to show up at like 5:02 instead of like 4:59.
Dude, that's some. I didn't wake up today thinking we were going to carry some glass and also just have life in Chad, man. Now I'm like thinking about like stuff I blew my gasket on. irrelevant.
But then there's some stuff where you're like, please, for the love of God, just put your pajamas on. And you're like, in the whole scheme of things, this doesn't matter that much, but can we please just not, like, I've been asking you to do it for like 12 minutes and it takes 15 seconds to put your pajamas on.
Bro, but why don't they eat breakfast before school, man? I'm always like, hey, you eat your breakfast.
Dude, she's always talking about how she wants to sleep later. So now I wake her up as late as possible. She's still mad at me for waking her up. And now she's mad that she doesn't have time to play. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Do you want to, because you said, Daddy, I want to sleep as much as I can. Now I'm letting you sleep as much as you can. And you're like, oh, I'm upset because I don't have playtime before school. Well, then you got to pick a lane. You can't have it both ways. I can't call up the school and be like, hey, can you start at like 11:30 today? She wants to play in the morning. Plus, they go to school, all they do is play. They're 4.5 years old, man. It's not like they're doing nuclear physics.
I know that triggered you because you just tanked that jump. I was like, man, I asked 3 times, like, hey, eat your breakfast. So it's, when you go to school, you're not hungry, eat your breakfast. Dude's reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'm like, all right. I'm just like, all right, man. Like,
stop asking, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done. I like, don't eat.
Be hungry.
Yeah, don't eat. When you got the grumbles at 10:30 and you were reading Diary of the Wimpy Kid, okay then, all right.
Then on the drive to school, Dad, I'm a little hungry. Yeah. And it's you, man. It's your fault.
But then you hit him with, oh, well, good thing I packed it up and put it in the Ziploc bag so you didn't learn anything. Exactly. Exactly. What am I going to do? I'm not going to send him out to school hungry, man. I got to take care of him, But
you ever think about, like, I feel like I was going to school in like the 9th grade with a belly that had like 175 calories in it. Like as a teenager going through puberty, I was like, quick bowl of cereal, no milk. That should keep me going for the first half of the day.
No milk? No milk?
Yeah. No milk, man.
That's another level.
And my daughter's a dry cereal head too. I don't know if you got the same situation, but like a lot of the stuff that I've been lambasted over for being weird or having weird preferences, I've been validated having a kid who has naturally come to those same conclusions herself, which I found amazing. And I know what you're going to say, pseudoscientific chat. You influenced her. Oh, when you asked her if she wanted milk, you probably went, do you want milk in your cereal? No, I was presenting it completely organically. Like, yes, people enjoy milk in their cereal. She tries it and says, I don't like it. And I say, you know what? I'm going to, because now I thought all this idiosyncrasy originated with me. And then it turns out it's somewhere in the code. It's in the code somewhere.
So she eats cereal with no milk.
No milk.
And you don't think that's influenced?
I don't think it's influenced by me. I presented the situation very organically.
Have you ever eaten cereal in front of her?
Oh, yeah.
Like weekly?
Not weekly.
Monthly?
Two times a year.
Okay. All right. So to me, I'm with you on that because, I'm with you on that. If you're eating daily cereal with no milk, you're 100% influenced. But if it's every now and then, they're sponges. Whatever you do, they're doing, whether you know what they
True, yeah.
Like.
But my parents eat cereal with milk. So where did my behavior come from?
Nintendo 64.
Could be. They do play Mario Kart 64 in one of the Sopranos episodes, season 1.
So and can I tell a cute story from the cruise?
Yes.
About your daughter. So you tell me, is this learned behavior or is this genetic? So on the Disney cruise, our families ate dinner together.
What the?
And that was me. I was grobening. And it's the first dinner. And everyone's getting to know each other. And Ryan's daughter starts telling jokes that are really funny. So is that a learned behavior or is that genetic?
I think it's learned, but it's not like she saw her dad telling jokes. I think that what happened is she told us a joke and got an insane reaction and then said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay. Well, she had good jokes, man. That was the thing. It wasn't
she's got classics, man. She's out there. And you know what I like is she's not afraid to workshop new material on stage. Like she'll come up with a joke and just send it out there. And if it gets a bad reaction, she just shrugs it off onto the next one.
So that is genetic. No, you says learn because she got the +2s in real life.
Yes, I think so.
Got it.
But I think there might be a genetic component to like sense of humor because I think there is something like magical about it, but I also think there's something biological about it. Like if you're dedicating brain matter to telling jokes, like it's coming at the expense of something else, which to me indicates that there could be a basis for like a genetic variation there. So I think you can be born maybe with the capacity to enjoy humor more than another person, sure. In the same way you can be born with the ability to like, you know, your tendons are longer or whatever, so you have the capacity to possibly jump higher.
But you're saying you have a capacity to tell better jokes than someone.
I didn't say better. I might have a brain more predisposed to
not
dedicating
you, but I'm
more
saying
of its
the average person.
LeBron. Yeah.
But she was killing him. She's got
some good ones.
My kids are not going to laugh unless it's funny. She had them rolling, man. It was there was a little bit of a duck smoke moment for me on the cruise when I'm like, apple does not fall far from both trees on that one. You know,
dude, I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the things, you know, people always ask like what changes when you have a kid, and the answer is like the answer is like everything. But one thing is like I feel like having a kid put me more in touch with my own personality, because I see elements of her personality that 100% came from me, and I like accept them more in myself. Like instead of being like, oh, that's like a personality flaw that like it would be nice if I could change. Instead, I'm like, no point. Concrete's already dry, bro. Apparently that stuff's been in there since birth, so I don't even have to worry about that. No point getting stressed about that stuff. That's in the genetic code. That's because my wife is a night owl and a long sleeper, and I am a morning person who likes to go to bed early. And occasionally, there's been times where it's frustrating for me. You know, if I go to bed at 10, pre-kid, and she goes to bed at 4, I'm like, why doesn't she just go to bed at 10 and then like wake up at the time that I wake up? You know, it seems like it's a personal choice. But then we have a daughter who is 100%, well, I can't say 100%, but I believe her genes have doomed her to also be a night owl, late sleeper. And now I feel like I have a lot more understanding of my wife, because I'm not like, oh, she just wants to sleep in. I'm like, she has a predisposition in her genes to prefer staying up late and sleeping in late. So now if she wants to wake up at like 11 a.m., I'm not like put out. I'm like, she's fulfilling like her genetic purpose with respect to sleeping. She's living like the way that she would live if there were no other things going on. And I think that level of fulfillment is like, you know, I'm happy for her.
So right,
and I wouldn't have had that if we didn't have kids. I would have been like, I don't know, I guess she's just a little lazy.
Or just wake up early, forehead. That's what you used to say.
But now that like I've seen the behavior emulated in my daughter, I'm like, okay, that's real, man. That's real. And like you can trust that it's real, but like until you see it for yourself, you might in your head like harbor the idea that's like skill difference.
Kate, just for the record, I don't think Ryan thinks, but I don't think you're lazy. I know you hit that grind on that oboe life, man. That's you can't be lazy and grind that oboe. All right.
100%.
All right.
I'm similarly like I'm a morning person, and I thought that maybe I learned how to be a morning person as I got older, but I think that, I don't know, man. I just feel like at my best, 6:15 in the morning, going for a walk before everybody wakes up.
But were you always like that? I feel like you weren't doing that till you burned Peloton.
I think that I got.
No.
I feel like I culturally was like, as a teenager and a young adult, there's more fun happening at night than there is in the morning. So I conditioned myself into staying up late and thought I was a night owl, but it never really felt like it fit. Like I always felt like I was fighting it. But now that I've embraced being a morning person, I don't know. It's the same way I feel when I like eat oatmeal. I'm like, this is what my body's designed to consume.
All right. Well,
I'm putting diesel into a diesel engine instead of trying to run it on regular gas.
Well, I need a diesel engine that's the rust is knocked off of it. So I want to get up early.
Yeah.
But I know I'm a night owl. So help me, brother. What do I do?
I think you're doomed.
No, but it can't be. How many days did it take for you to change your complexion on that?
Slowly over years, I would say. That's not too helpful. So you're probably looking for something a little bit more. Well, with a kid, you can't be that much of a, like, it's self-regulating, right? Your kids have to get to school.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, worst case scenario, you got to be up at like 7:15 or something, right?
Yeah, absolute latest. But
so yeah, I think
if I got up at 4, I'd get so much more done.
Well, then go to bed at 9.
Forehead.
But it is forehead. But here's the thing: it's forehead, but it's also like impossible. I don't have to deprive myself to go to bed at 9 because I'm like, yes, it's 9, time to go to bed.
That's how you are?
This is exactly what I want to do. Yeah. But I think if you're like a night owl, when 9 rolls around, you're probably like, oh, I really want to like have some leisure time. I really want to like enjoy myself right now.
Yeah, you got to unplug.
Well, I unplug in the morning.
But you unplug, but then you unplug in the morning, but then you're plugged in all day.
Yeah.
And then just at 9, you're automatically unplugged?
9:30, yeah.
But you don't do anything to unplug at night?
No.
I never thought of that.
I would say I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I don't think it's universal for everybody. I think a lot of people would probably go crazy. But it's a rebalancing of the day, basically.
Well, I think where you steal, where you're a thief, is you're getting a workout in and entertainment. I think that's where you're stealing. That's where you're stealing right there. We're
batch processing.
Yes, you're stealing from Father Time on that one. So I'm with you on that, because if you watched a movie by 7:30 a.m., if you watch another movie, you kind of feel like dog water because you've already watched a movie. You're watching a movie a day.
Right, yeah. And then like I get it, but like, I mean, I have a model that works for me that might not work for everybody. But you might be like, oh, it's 9 p.m. I'm just a little bit tired. Now would be a great time to play like 2 hours of like a video game. I'm like, I don't know. Sleep is like the best recreational activity you can get, man. You're literally like paying tomorrow you. You're paying a dividend to tomorrow's version of yourself.
All right, hold on here.
Now, are there times where you're like, I will go effing insane if I don't get some personal time tonight? Yeah, probably. And those, maybe you stay up an extra hour or two and like watch a movie or do whatever you want to do. Eat oats straight out of the bag, standing in front of the pantry. But like on the average day, I'll clock into sleep as early as I conceivably can clock into sleep.
On a weekday.
On a weekend, especially.
This is a last question for you. Do you think, say it's not glass, but say it's like a comfortable piece of board or something, do you think anyone has been in this position before in their life? Like without glass, but something in place of the glass?
Like with their head sticking through it?
Yeah, each person's head sticking through it.
I'm going to say no, because I think they'd be dead.
No, but I mean like there's a hole cut out and...
A hole cut? Maybe like in the Middle Ages or something? Okay. Like if two dudes were being tortured or something?
No, I'm saying like people are knowingly entering into this and it's something that you and I, are not familiar with.
I don't think so, man. I think they got different apparatuses for that. I haven't seen Billions though. Maybe after The Sopranos.
All right, Ryan, Gary, it was fun, man.
All right, later, brother.
I'll talk to you soon.